Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex. Apologies for no sound at the beginning of this video, but I wanted to showcase at the top of the video what Elektra can do with just a 140 proc obelisk. So that was a stage 34 Mephisto clear with double support, of course, but I wanted to do this, without cutting or anything like that, and I didn't want to show you a screenshot so that you guys know legit it was done with this build here, a 140 proc obelisk, no other special features. Of course, we have the uniform mythic, we've got stage 10 Power of Angry Hulk. You could definitely opt for Hawk's Eye or Overdrive. The attack speed is not that important. And then we have two Odin's Blessings. I did give her the two Odin's Blessings, and I definitely gave her all of the 6-star, the 8 6-star physical attack Urus, because I felt like her base stats were low, because they are low. And I'm not going to be doing an actual test of PvP until I either see a lot more convincing content from other content creators, or the devs address Elektra's low base stats and buff them, basically. So yeah, this review is going to be focused on PvE, and we're actually going to do a comparison that I don't normally do in my first showcase, but I'm going to do a comparison with Black Widow because they came out so close together, and I feel like they do a lot of the same things, and although they may promise some similar things in the sense of, she has the iframe ignore ability, and she has healing, and she actually has the dodge artifact. And then she has, the first character with multiple iframe ignore skills and a counterattack and multiple heals. But neither of them has seen, thus far anyways, neither of them has seen big adoption in PvP, with the incumbent Spider-Man still being the de facto only available realistic speed counter for the, even stronger, even more oppressive blast meta of Emma Frost and Adam Warlock. So all of that is just to say that I would love to do a PvP review of Elektra, but I don't think at this point, unless you're a diehard PvP fan and a diehard Elektra fan, I just really don't think it's going to be worth your while. Because look at this, even with eight 6-star HP Urus, which is the maximum that I can give her, all she's missing is the heal Odin's Blessings. And remember, I have 83.5 or almost 83.5% max HP on my cards. Very close to the sort of capped, the soft capped PvP gods that have 95% HP, because it really doesn't get much higher than that. And she's barely at 83,000 HP. Just horrendously low base stats. So yeah, my advice to you right now is to not build her for PvP. That's my personal advice to you, but of course, you're free to do as you wish, and I hope that if you build her for PvP, she does well for you. But what we're going to do now is we're going to give her a CTP of energy, because we've already shown that she can go all the way up to stage 34 of Mephisto, which is pretty nutty. But she doesn't have any chain hit damage on her base kit, so I'm hoping that this improvement here is going to do a lot for her. Now, I did lose 20% dodge, so we'll have to see how that impacts her survivability for sure. But we're now going to go back into that Mephisto stage to see how much faster she can do it now that she has the energy equipped. We'll also see if that 20% dodge is affecting her survivability or not. And we'll, of course, talk about her rotation, because her rotation is, I think, one of the most fun parts of her kit. We're going to do 2 cancel, 1 cancel, 5 cancel, 3 cancel, 4. That's 2 cancel, 1 cancel, 5 cancel, 3 cancel, 4. And then for the next rotation, we're going to do 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 6. And you're going to smash and really hammer home the 6th skill, because it loves to be super sticky and annoying. So it's a really fun rotation. It's a little bit quirky in the sense that very few characters do this much canceling anymore. This sort of feels like in the old days, the cable rotations, where you would cancel everything and then just sit on one final ability. But as you can see, she is a monster when you do this. Now, for those of you wondering why I'm changing the second rotation that ends with the 6th skill, you want to sit on the 6th skill, by the way. I think you can cancel her tier 3, but it does the most damage, so you want to stay on the tier 3. The reason why I'm altering the last rotation is because there's a delay from 3. The damage doesn't come right away on 3, and I find that it gives you more time to cancel into 6. If you do 1, 2, 5, 3, 4, 6, oftentimes you can't pass the proc over from the 4th skill onto the 6th skill. And so actually the funny thing is, the reason why I want to do a comparison with Black Widow is because both Black Widow and Elektra almost identically have a damage proc on their 4th skills that you pass onto other skills. In Black Widow's case, you can pass it onto the 5th skill or the tier 3. And as you can see here in Elektra's case, you do pass it on to the tier 3 quite well. With the regular rotation, you actually don't end up passing the proc. So I'm not 100% sure. Just admittedly, I haven't done the testing yet to know if there's perhaps a better rotation for her. But I love this rotation. It's very consistent. This is a very consistent rotation. And with this rotation now, I almost never miss her... like passing the proc from her 4th skill onto her tier 3. Now, I was trying to show you there, it didn't work, but I was trying to show you that because she has multiple iframe ignore skills, you can actually continue to hit Mephisto in that phase change when he's using the purple circle, you know, and he's trying to chase you down, and there's those 5 sigils by Doctor Strange. You can absolutely hit him during that, and you can do damage to him, and you can actually just get through the phase. So if you're very, very close to the end of the phase change, like if he has 1 or 2 bars left and you can do enough burst damage, you can absolutely see that through, which is really cool in my opinion. Oof, too much damage here. Bit risky, but I like the fact that she was able to tank it, but Mephisto just does not want to stop doing these attacks. So yeah, we're rocking and rolling. But yeah, she's doing a really good job thus far in my opinion. Really great burst damage. Her tier 3 has a lot of hits, and the hits sort of last for a long time. So in my opinion, that's why you want to stay on that skill. Now, a couple of things to note about Elektra. She's a bit slower than Black Widow, and she's a bit slow for a speed type. So yeah, you're going to notice that, especially if you don't have any movement speed on your cards. Let's see if we can squeeze in the tier 3 before we get the cutscene where he's going to, you know, stop taking damage. Ooh, okay. We're going to cutscene. We're going to finish here. That's awesome. This is fantastic. But yeah, I love her rotation. But yeah, the 2 things I would say. So 2 minutes and 8 seconds is fantastic. So she just improved her time by almost 2 minutes. So you can see from, of course, from a 140 proc to a 200 proc, that's a big jump for sure. But I honestly think that the chain hit damage from the CTP of energy is also adding a lot because she has a ton of hits. Her regular rotation has close to 100 hits. It's like 80 hits on her regular rotation, and having 30% chain hit damage for that is huge. However, there are 2 things I should say about Elektra. One is, you know, the movement speed is definitely a factor for her. The other thing is, as you can see, you do need some practice. I practiced maybe half a dozen runs in order to get that rotation down and canceling it. And a bunch of times I made the mistake of doing the exact same rotation into the tier 3 and missing the proc. You will definitely lose damage if you do not pass the basic damage increase, the 100% basic damage increase. If you don't pass that from Ruthless Sweep onto Instinctive Assassination, you'll see you'll lose at least 1 to 2 bars of damage, at least on that stage. You might lose less on a lower stage because you're doing so much more damage, but you will definitely lose damage. And then her survivability is a bit of an issue. As you saw there, we almost got bursted down. Again, low base stats. And the last criticism I will say of Elektra is that you didn't see it very much versus that 3rd phase of Mephisto because I was playing I was sort of playing to compensate for it. But basically, her rotation, it does have some really good tracking, but it also has, as you can see on the 3rd skill, those bombs they cluster around in a zone and they stay there. Same thing for the tier 3. It seems like the tier 3 tracks, but it kind of doesn't. So if you trigger, especially the tier 3 rotation, if you trigger it while Mephisto in the 3rd phase is slamming the ground and moving around, your damage will drop off significantly. So you really have to pick your battles and pick your spots. It's very similar to Kate Bishop, where if you pop her rotation, especially with the Awakening skill, and Mephisto is standing still, the damage is phenomenal, and you get like crazy burst. But if you do it when Mephisto's moving, he moves out of the AoE, and you lose a significant portion of your damage. Anywho, that being said, let's go run Black Widow through the same stage now with the exact same team, exact same strikers, and let's see how she does. So one of the key differences that I want to highlight between Black Widow and Elektra in the gameplay is that although you do want to use the 3rd and 4th skill, the 1st and 2nd skill for Black Widow to build up your tier 3 faster and more smoothly. Black Widow cannot cancel her first and second skill as easily, and particularly the second skill is quite difficult to cancel, and oftentimes you will end up, if you let the second skill play out and you don't cancel it, you will end up proccing your next rotation, and same goes for the tier 3. That explosion at the end of the helicopter can absolutely trigger your next proc. So it is possible to go faster with Black Widow if you are able to do 3 cancel 6, delayed cancel 4 cancel 5. It's absolutely possible. However, I think, in my opinion, it's incredibly inconsistent, and I don't like to feature those types of rotations because I feel like they are unrealistic for the majority of players. Yes, there will be a Black Widow gameplay god in the comments saying, I can do the stage even faster than you, Cynicalex, because I spend, 8 hours a day waking, practicing Black Widow. That's great. I'm honestly happy that that's the case because it shows how deep the skill cap is in Marvel Future Fight. But I'm not here, I mean, I kind of am, but I'm kind of not. I can't realistically master every single character. Even if I just mastered the tier 3s and the Transcendence, that's over 100 characters. I'm honestly just not that good of a gamer. I'll accept that, I can live with that. But yeah, that's what I want to say because I do think that some people are going to comment on that for sure, and I can definitely see where I can make some improvements, but at the same time, again, for the sake of the comparison, I want to give you guys a run that's going to be consistently similar, right? Oh, he just canceled my tier 3? No, but you still get the helicopter explosion, but as long as it doesn't proc our issue. Now, unlike Elektra, I think that Black Widow is quite nice during this third phase of Mephisto. Doesn't really matter what he does, she can target him quite well. So she doesn't suffer from that problem. And although I'm using Wave right now to run around, because Wave's super fast, Black Widow is also faster than, not as fast as Wave, of course, but definitely faster than Elektra. So I think she's actually going to end up being faster than Elektra here for the clear. One thing to note again about Black Widow, unlike Elektra, is Black Widow's tier 3, the way that the skill is designed, she moves away from the boss in order to snipe down the helicopter, so you can't cancel out of the tier 3 as easily unless you cancel at the beginning of the tier 3. I'm not the biggest fan of that. You can definitely do that. You can definitely cancel 6 into 2 and then into 1, and then set yourself up again for 3 cancel 4 cancel 5, but I like to keep it a bit more simple. But even with a quote-unquote 80-90% optimal rotation, but not the absolute most optimal rotation, she's still 20 seconds, I believe, 15-20 seconds faster than Elektra, which in my opinion, it really then just comes down to PvP, because as you can see, their stats are not that much different, and she has set 8,000 more physical attack with 0 Odin's Blessings. So it's just pretty bonkers, and it's pretty disappointing how little stats they gave Elektra. I really feel like Elektra could be a really nice sort of female version of Spider-Man if they just gave her, an extra 5,000 physical attack, an extra 3,000 of both defenses, and then an extra like 10,000 HP. But as it currently stands, her base stats are just, I think, a little bit too low to warrant a heavy investment from most players. Now, one final note about PvP. If you really want to use her for PvP, my guess would be to give her, because she already has damage reduction, right? She has 33%. Where is it? She has a heal, she has invisibility, but I believe she has 33% damage reduction. So she already has some damage reduction and guaranteed dodge. So my guess would be to try and offset her low base stats. I don't think she'll be able to tank at all with a Mighty Authority. I think she's just going to get completely blitzed from there. So my guess would be a Mighty Regen would probably be better for her with the all attack, all defense role. I'm trying to find one now here, and it's not proving to be that easy. Yeah, that would be an example, but you would want to aim for the plus 20. The plus 20 all attack and all defense, plus the 34% HP or 30% HP roughly. I think that could maybe work for Elektra and give her enough tanking because, and the recovery rate would be excellent as well because she has 3 different heals, right? She has a heal here, she has a heal here, and then she has that passive heal when she gets hit. So she just needs to be able to absorb enough hits to get off these heals and get off these passives to tank enough so that she can do her rotation. The last thing I'll say about PvP, because again, I think she's a little bit worse than Black Widow for PvE, even though she has an easier rotation, she's a little bit slower. So really, what does it come down to? It comes down to the possibility, the ceiling she has for PvP that obviously Black Widow doesn't have, right? The last thing I'll say about Elektra for PvP is her rotation, her auto rotation for PvP is terrible. It's really bad. She just spams the same 2 or 3 skills. So again, if you're big on PvP and you really want to make Elektra work, try to lower her cooldown. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but for PvP specifically, a lot of Alliance Conquest diehards will aim for like 40 to 45% HP, cooldown, rather than 50% cooldown. So you want to lower the cooldown to force the AI to use more of her skills in rotation, because those short cooldown skills like 1 and 2 will still be on cooldown, forcing the character to use 3, 4, and 5. Because from what I've seen, she never does 4 and 5 on auto, and so she never heals, and then she dies. And then you cry, and then you go back to using Spidey. So yeah, that's my review for Elektra. I hope that the devs see this and maybe give her a little bit more love, but at this point, I would say just Tier 3 Black Widow and get her newest uniform. She's going to perform as good or better than Elektra does. A little bit harder rotation, but better results or same results. And then we'll sort of see if time makes Elektra a PvP powerhouse or not. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Smash the like button if you enjoyed the content, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.